I loved my life. You know, I was a proud mom, I was a proud wife, and I worked hard. We've been together for 25 years, and probably the last 5 years of our marriage started to get rocky. I wonder how you go from 22 years of just greatness and then that huge decline to where we ended up. I met Gary in college, really hit it off right away. At that time, I already had my oldest child, who was 1, and when we started dating, one of my stipulations was, we're a package deal. You know, if you love me, you gotta love her too, and he did exactly that. Well, we had another child right before we moved to St. Cloud, and so the 4 of us moved to St. Cloud, had another child, and then another child, and then we got married, and then we had another child too. We were together for 25 years, married for 17. Probably the last 5 years of our marriage started to get rocky. Things started changing. And I think just the change in my demeanor, change in my attitude, change in his, just made the decline, I think, worse in our marriage. The first was a lot of verbal arguments and discussions and late nights of talking, you know, which I'm finding out later on, it was a lot of emotional abuse. Then, you know, it led to pushing, shoving, holding me down, restraining me, preventing me from doing a lot of different things. What I remember of that day, we were both at work, and we both had a good day at work. It was probably about 11 o'clock at night, I think it was, and I was cleaning house, as I always do, and one of our kids was not feeling very well, and so I had him laying on the couch in the living room, and Gary had left, and he was gone for about 15 minutes, and this was pretty typical behavior. And when he came home, I instantly noticed it. He was pacing around the house, and I went into the kitchen, and I found myself blocked into the kitchen. Something was just different, something wasn't right. I was really, really tired after all this time, and I told him I didn't want to talk anymore. I didn't want to do this tonight, and he grabbed me, he threw me up against the cupboard, and then he slammed me onto the floor, and as he slammed me on the floor, he grabbed a knife from the kitchen drawer and started stabbing me. My daughter, Janaea, came running into the kitchen, and she jumped on Gary, trying to get him to stop, and I could hear her saying stop. I could hear her saying, stop, Dad, and he kept stabbing me. And then my other son, who was downstairs, came running upstairs, and so he actually called 911, and Janaea was able to get the knife away from Gary. We were all 3 laying on the kitchen floor together. So I locked eyes as I was laying there with Janaea, and I remember telling her I love her and make sure she told all the kids how much I loved her. And I then I really felt myself leaving this earth. And then I changed it to, I'm dying. I know that I'm dying. Janaea, please make sure everybody knows that I love them. And that's when the police came. Well, I was stabbed 22 times. I was stabbed on my face. Right here, I have a scar, and right here, I have a scar. And then I have puncture wounds all along my chest, and stab wounds on 3 of these fingers. I'm guessing the hospital called Anna Marie's to tell them that a domestic had come into the hospital.
So our on-scene advocates are 24/7, and they respond with law enforcement. So all of Stearns and Benton County law enforcement agencies are instructed during a domestic incident to call Anna Marie's at any time and provide that direct contact information, situation information to those advocates.
The advocacy part was huge. Like, I didn't understand a lot of like I said, the justice system. I didn't understand much of any of that. I'd never been in trouble before or been in any kind of situation where I needed to know any of it. And they really understood it very well, and they went with me to all of my court dates.
Basically, at that point, our job would be to take that through the criminal case, follow up with those victims, talk about what's going on in that justice process.
He was found guilty of attempted murder, and his sentencing was 20 years in prison, serving 2/3 of that. And because he sat in county for a year and a half, that would also be deducted from his sentencing.
I was in trial with her. That was very intense. She was a rock star in there, and for her to be able to survive something like that and thrive after something like that, from using our services and just really trusting the system and working with her counselors and her therapists and all of that, that just is really amazing, because not everybody can do that. I mean, she could have died and she didn't, and she's surviving and thriving today.
We need a place like this to help women find their voice, to help women find shelter, find safety, and to prevent stuff like this from happening to other women.